Honorable President.
The reforms that we have embarked upon are the type of reforms that will not only open up the gateway that we are, but will enhance it, and it will also have a beneficial impact on other countries on the continent, on the subcontinent, that is our region, as well as on the continent as a whole. We continue to be recognized as the gateway into Africa because we are the most industrialized country on the continent, and we've got good infrastructure that has over the years really run into disrepair. So the reforms we have embarked upon are aimed at revamping that infrastructure. We have been, as a country, chosen by the African Union to be the champion of infrastructure. And that is the position we occupy at the AU level. And living up to that position means that we should be the repository of coming up with the ideas of how infrastructure, particularly logistics, on our continent and in our region can be improved. Many countries rely on South Africa to have or to continue having the best infrastructure. And countries as far afield as the Great Lakes, as far afield as the DRC, still rely on our own logistics capacity. So therefore, we need to ensure that these reforms continue to benefit us, but also benefit other countries as they are very, very reliant on us as well. So in the end, what we do here is not only beneficial for us, but it is also beneficial for other countries in our region and indeed on the continent as well. And we will continue, and it is for that reason that we should continue with those reforms, because for us it's almost do reform or you die. And if we don't reform, it basically means we are really imposing a death sentence on our own economy. And that is a route that we should never take. We should only take the route that will enhance the growth of our economy and lead to the creation of jobs, which is precisely what we are focusing on. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. President. Honorable O.M. Maudre.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Speakers, there's this false and misconstrued idea that for state-owned entities to function optimally, effectively, and efficiently, you need private sector participation or involvement. And that idea has been debunked by the recent experiences with ESCOM, where we come from heavy load shedding, which was as a result of your deployment of a useless minister who had no clue what ESCOM is all about, including the management team that was there. We've seen now with the new minister and the engineers who are there in the form of the board chairperson and the CEO, that it has turned around ESCOM. We now no longer talk about load shedding. So what makes you think that the private sector is actually the answer? You correctly said earlier on that Transnet used to transport 82 million tons of coal, which has now dropped to 14 million tons. But that's as a result of management. So why are you not bringing competent, experienced, well-qualified management teams to revitalize our ports and our railways without you handing over our assets to to private sector, which is basically you are saying we need wide supervision for government to operate optimally? Thank you.
Honorable President.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'd like to make it clear once again that the process of the reforms we have embarked upon is not about handing over state assets in terms of ownership. It is cooperating with the private sector where money resides. The private sector has money. No. Right now, for instance, Transnet's balance sheet is constrained. We had a situation where ESCOM, and still have a situation where ESCOM, has a negative balance sheet, and the Treasury has had to bail out Eskom for something like 450 billion rand. Now, that's a burden. That's a burden that the people of South Africa will continue to carry over the next few years, where money that should be utilized quite effectively to improve education, to ensure that our health facilities are better, is then diverted to put into a state-owned enterprise. And what we are arguing is that we must lessen the dependence of our state-owned enterprises, and where we can cooperate with the private sector, and where they can put their money into a state asset, they should do so. And I'll give you a very good example. The N3, which is like the real artery of our economy, was built through a partnership, a private partnership with the private sector. They helped us build that road. And their concession will soon be coming to an end, and the entire road, that is the N3, will then be handed over to government. Now, that's a smart partnership. And what we are saying is that develop smart partnerships. What we would have had to do, the fiscus would have had to lay out quite a lot of billions of rands to build the N3. And the private sector was ready to come. Now, I think last year I did say that I went to Beitbridge. And I went to the Zimbabwe side of Beitbridge, having been to our side of Beitbridge. Our side of Beitbridge is quite a sad situation to look at. When President Mnangagwa took me to their side of Beitbridge, I found that they had built one of the top class facilities. And I asked him, how did you do this? He said, no, President. All we did, we gave a concession to the private sector. They've built this facility for us. And we are going to take ownership of this facility. In 15 years, it will be ours. And they have built a world-class facility. Now, that is being smart. That is being smart by utilizing other people's money.
Order, honorable members.
Now, on our side, so you know, so that as you respond in the way you do, so you know, on our side, we have now decided that we are going to have public-private partnerships to improve our own entry points, be it in Beitbridge, be it in Libombo, and all over.
Order, honorable members, you have asked the question, it's being answered. You may not like the answer because it's a point of debate. Let's allow the president to finish his answer. Order.
Honorable
You
Speaker,
can guide him later, not now. Order.
Honorable Speaker, thank you.
Thank you.
It adds quite a lot of excitement, though, because it enables people to think through issues. Because when you have to deal with the reality of our own situation, where we've had quite a bit of underdevelopment, and where we can say we will work with those who have the resources, and in the end up with, yes, the most fantastic border control situation that I saw on the Zimbabwe side, and which is already earning the money because the flow of goods and people through that facility is much more enhanced, it's much more modern, and that's precisely where we need to go. To modernize our own infrastructure, we do need to utilize the finance the capital that we can get from other players, be it development funding institutions, be it sovereign wealth funds. That is where we can get the support, and through private-public partnerships that work for the benefit of all. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.